So the PS5 live event just happened, and wow, so many exciting games showcased. I'm really looking forward to the new Ratchet & Clank, I'm really looking forward to the new Sackboy game, the new Oddworld was an unexpected surprise. But we're not here to talk about that today, we're here to talk about the Spider-Man PS4 sequel on the PlayStation 5, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Be yourself. Now, one of the concerns I had about a Spider-Man PS4 sequel would be that it's quite difficult to change up the Spider-Man formula. New York City is New York City, so it can't be like, say, the Batman Arkham series where you go from fictional location to fictional location. Now, I'm not an American, I'm not from New York, so I don't necessarily know if there's other areas of New York worth exploring in a Spider-Man sequel, but what I'm seeing here looks like it really is gonna change up the game. One thing I'd been asking for in a Spider-Man game for a while, and even movies to a degree, is some new weather conditions, and we're definitely seeing some snow in this game. So I'm really excited to see how that changes up the playing mechanics, how it changes up the web swinging controls. However, it can be assumed that this game is going to play differently all round thanks to the fact that we have a new Spider-Man to play as, and I think that this is a seriously genius move. I had a feeling that Miles Morales would be playable to some capacity in this sequel, but I didn't think the entire game would be dedicated to him, and I'm thrilled about that. And it's coming a whole lot sooner than expected. Now, I had some people in my live streams chat saying, oh, it's just a spin-off, it's just a filler game, it's just going to be a shorter one, it won't be the full experience, but I think, no, I think they've been working on this for quite some time. Like, I too am surprised by how soon this is coming, but what I was also excited about was that this wasn't just a cinematic trailer, they did show some gameplay as well. Now, part of what's going to be so exciting with Miles Morales is that he does have a different set of abilities to Peter Parker. He's got his Venom Blast, which can really shock people to within an inch of their life. He's got his invisibility powers, so it'll be interesting to see how those factor into the gameplay, and we've never played a Spider-Man game with those abilities for Spider-Man before. So my concerns about this game just kind of being more of the same, I guess they really had that in mind from the get-go, which is great. This game is going to be so justified. But another thing I'm really excited about is how different the atmosphere feels in this trailer alone. It's a completely different aesthetic for the game. Obviously, we're seeing Miles Morales' world, and maybe Miles Morales comes from a different part of New York than Peter does, so maybe we'll get to see some different areas of New York City that we didn't see in the previous game. Either way, it looks different, and I noticed that there's also Christmas decorations up at some point, so maybe the game is going to take place during the holiday season. Either way, there's a lot here that we've never seen in a Spider-Man game before, which is great because when Activision had the rights to the Spider-Man games, I think after Spider-Man 2, things started to get a little bit repetitive, and the games had a difficult time justifying their own existence, justifying continuing with this playstyle. Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to be a different experience for sure. It's a different Spider-Man, New York feels different, he's gonna play different. I'm also wondering whereabouts this takes place. It does very much appear from the narration that maybe Peter Parker is passing the torch onto Miles Morales, or perhaps what we're hearing could be Peter Parker's final words before he dies. Do you think maybe there's a chance that they'll go down the Ultimate Spider-Man route by killing off Peter Parker? If I'm being completely honest, I've never been wholly comfortable with killing off Peter Parker, but I do think that the gang at Insomniac Games know what they're doing, because there's a lot of story ideas in Spider-Man PS4 that I was very iffy about in comics and other entertainment, but they nailed it in Spider-Man PS4. As for those alternate costume wish lists, we might as well scrap those and come up with a completely new wish list of costumes, because it does appear that Miles Morales, if he's not the only Spider-Man we play as, he will be the main Spider-Man we play as. After all, the game is named after him. As for B characters, maybe we'll get a couple of levels dedicated to playing as Peter Parker, but I don't mind if they don't want to do that, as this is Miles Morales' very first video game where he is fully playable as Spider-Man. Just let that sink in. This character's been around since, I think, 2014? And we're only just now getting to play as him, fully suited up as Spider-Man. It is about gosh darn time. But perhaps for stealth missions and side characters, maybe we'll be able to play as Gank Ali. Maybe some other characters that are more integral to Miles' world. Also, do you get the feeling that this maybe takes place after a time jump? Because it would appear that Peter Parker is either off elsewhere or he's out of operation altogether, so maybe we're playing in future New York City without doing the whole Spider-Man 2099 thing. There's a lot of questions, obviously, because this is just a teaser trailer as opposed to showing us much of what the game is going to be. Such was life with the very early Spider-Man PlayStation 4 trailers. I think it's safe to expect that we'll maybe be seeing an appearance from Venom and the Green Goblin as hinted at in the previous game, and that Venom will be Harry Osborn as opposed to Eddie Brock. Another thing I'm pretty iffy about, but I do trust the team at Insomniac to do a great job because, to be fair, Spider-Man PS4, it did have some of the best writing we've had in the entire Spider-Man franchise across all the different media platforms, so, you know, I trust them. Other villains I would love to see would be Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter. It has to be said, a lot of Spidey's best villains already made an appearance in Spider-Man PS4, but I think there's some other villains that they can catch up on, or maybe they can bring a few villains back. I would love to think that Spider-Man PS4 is not the last we'll see of that version of Dr. Octopus, and that he's gonna go on to become a more ongoing problem, that we'll maybe be seeing more of him. Perhaps establishing a very different dynamic between him and Miles Morales from what we saw with him and Peter. He and Peter had a very personal connection with each other. What's it gonna be like when Doc Ock is going up against a Spider-Man that doesn't really give a shit who he is? As for Miles Morales' costume, I think I have a much better reaction to this trailer than I did the very first Spider-Man PS4 trailer, because that Miles Morales costume looks so much better than the advanced suit from Spider-Man PS4. So I'm not going to be desperate to switch to an alternate costume. It's very much a modern, more textured evolution of that classic Ultimate Miles Morales look. As for bonus costumes and unlockable costumes, I sincerely hope that we will see the Into the Spider-Verse version of Miles Morales be playable in this game, because I absolutely love Into the Spider-Verse's version of Miles Morales' costume. It's the kind of costume where it says a lot about the character already, that Miles Morales is an artist. But either way, I am really happy with the way Miles Morales' costume has been translated for this game. It is very much preferable, to me anyway, to the advanced suit from Spider-Man PS4. I just wasn't big on that suit, and when I saw that reveal trailer of PS4 the first time, I was like, not big on that costume. And at that time, I don't think that alternate costumes were a given. Now, with this one, we have more of an idea of what we're in for, I think. But I'm also excited to just see more of how Miles Morales will play in this game, whether he will control entirely different to Peter Parker. Maybe his web swinging is going to feel different because he does different stunts, he's got a different physique. Maybe his fighting style is going to be completely different, like maybe he's going to have less gadgets in his suit because he's a less experienced Spider-Man. I don't know, but either way, for now, at the point we're at, we've all got a lot of questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing these questions get answered as we get closer and closer to the game's release. But for now, I think it was an incredibly smart move choosing Miles Morales to be the lead character in the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 sequel. Am I a little bit concerned about what that means for Peter Parker's character? Yes, but at the same time, it's a good segue. I think the previous game set this up well, and I guess looking back, it was kind of a no-brainer that Miles Morales would feature in this heavily. I just didn't know that he was necessarily going to be the main character. Am I disappointed by that? Not at all. It actually addresses a lot of my concerns about the Spider-Man PS4 sequel in a way that's very creative, and it's about time Miles Morales' Spider-Man got his own video game. As for the graphics of the game, I will say, and this is kind of a theme with a lot of the PlayStation 5 games showcased, I'm not seeing that much of a graphical jump up from the PlayStation 4. And that's okay, maybe the different technical capabilities will be showcased in another way. Being as these games are loading off of a solid state drive as opposed to a hard disk drive, it's presumed that they'll be able to load more all at once. So maybe the big thing with this game is that there'll be no load times, and the whole experience will just be slicker for that reason. Does anybody know of any other alternate Miles Morales costumes that could be featured in this video game? Comment below with what costumes you would like to see Miles Morales wear in this video game, as well as villains you'd like to see him face off against. Right now, all I'm asking is an Into the Spider-Verse costume and to see Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, Venom, and Green Goblin. Maybe they want to take it in a different direction. Maybe we'll see the Prowler, as this is a very early Miles Morales storyline. Maybe the Prowler is in store for us, because he was pretty integral to every version of Miles Morales' origin. So, yeah, maybe Uncle Aaron, the Prowler, is going to be on the cards. Oh boy, guys, I'm probably just rambling on. I'm probably repeating myself an awful lot, but I am so excited for this game. Guys, I'm so excited for this game. Like, I think I'm more excited now knowing that we get to play as a brand new Spider-Man that we've never played as before than I was thinking that it would be another Peter Parker game with Miles Morales as just another character to play as. I do hope that the next game along is going to have less of the stealth missions like we saw before, but if they do that, side characters, Ganka Lee is a good choice. So, Spider-Man Miles Morales' announcement trailer gets a giant Spidey thumbs up from me. If I had thumbs, but I don't know how to draw hands. What do you think, guys? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, why don't you head over to channelpup.net, where you can visit our blog page Dr. Blogtopus, but you can also buy merch, such as this tasteless t-shirt. And I mean, if you insist here, guys, maybe hit subscribe, maybe hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my social media handles, including the Patreon, where your contribution can help me run this channel, and really keep it alive. That aside, I am really grateful that you checked out this video today. Thank you so much for watching, fellow home dog. See you on another video.